Alrighty, so I've been needing to do this video for quite a while. My daughter keeps reminding me, so I'm like, okay, yeah, I do need to do that. This is the Who is Jack Daw video. I will answer a couple obvious ones just in case first time you've seen anything about me here. I'm 57 years old. I live full-time out of a 1954 Dodge M152. Was a command truck in the Canadian Armed Forces that I restored, brought back to life as my home to do this philanthropy. And living in the vehicle is how I afford to do this. On so little, I live really lean. And I travel up and down the western coast of North America, into Baja, up into BC, and just roam around and do this. Follow the weather. In cities that have shelters, I connect with them to do family portraits for them for free. And I'm partially supported by patrons via Patreon. You can learn all about this on my website at jackdaw.love. There's ways to become a patron. There's also ways to make one-time donations there. So if you're interested in learning more about the work in detail, read through that stuff. All the portraits I do belong exclusively to the families I create them for. They'll never be published anywhere, never be sold. There's no profit angle whatsoever to the philanthropy I'm doing. It is purely for the families, 100%. And that's just the way it's always going to be, because it's not about scoring any kind of portfolio stuff for myself. It's all about blessing them with something that will be of great value to them when their children grow older, etc. To begin with, I don't know a Jack Daw. I'm sure a Jack Daw exists. I should actually search that. But in my case, Jack Daw is a single word. It is a Eurasian crow, has a gray nape, and has super light gray eyes. And the name for this that I chose just came to me in a dream. I was trying to come up with a single word name for my website and for what I'm doing. And I was struggling with that, and I had already designed the logo that I'd painted on the truck with the heart and the wings. Which you typically do a logo after you get a name. Well, I went at it backwards. Imagine that, me doing it backward. So anyway, in this dream, I closed the truck's door and I caught a glimpse of a name on the door, and it just said Jack Daw. And I had no idea what Jack Daw was. I woke up, I immediately looked it up, and I'm like, oh my God. Because anybody who knows me knows I'm fanatical about corvids. Ravens, crows, jays. That whole family is just my jam. I love those birds so much. And so I took it as, oh yeah. So I get online to search, eligible domains. Jackdaw.com is not available. .org, .net, .us. It's none of them. It's all taken. And then GoDaddy suggested some other extensions, and one of them was .love. And I'm like, I can't believe this. So jackdaw.love is available, and it matches my logo perfectly of the heart and the wings. So that's how it came about the name. Dreams tell me a lot. I get a lot of inspiration from them. So anyway, that's about the name. And when people yell at me on the street when I'm driving, because I drive with my windows down everywhere, oh, hey, Jack, of course I'm going to answer. There's no time. I'm not going to say, oh, actually, no, it's Rich. No, lots of people know me as Jack now. I virtually answer to it, depending on the circumstances, which is pretty darn funny. So now that's established that Jack Daw is a bird, and kind of just the, for lack of a better description, it's like the mascot of what I do. Doesn't have any, great relevance to the actual philanthropy I'm doing, but it's just something fun. I love it. Single word, and I'm very connected to corvids. But who I am is kind of the point of this video. My name is Richard Villacrez, and I was a commercial advertising photographer for 30 years before I totally quit, walked away from advertising work a little over 4 years ago now to devote myself full-time to this philanthropy. So my gift with photography has always been in conceptual and creative work, and especially where people are concerned. And so when I was starting out as an advertising photographer, especially when I was starting out in Central Washington, which is a very small market for commercial photography, I had to do any kind of photography I could get my hands on. No, don't go there. Not any kind, but any legitimate kind at the time. And portraits are one of the easiest kind of photography businesses to get going. And since I love shooting people, I just started doing senior portraits, family portraits, and excelled at that because I take a lot of time. I connect with the people. I put people at ease in front of the camera. And it's just always a delight. I love it. I would do senior photo shoots. We'd do a road trip. Each one was totally different. I never repeated a set. So the kids loved, they're getting absolutely one-off shots for their senior portraits. And we'd spend 5, 6, 7 hours on the road to find 6 different locations and create unique shots for them based on their style, their clothes, what they like. It was really fun. So portraits have always been the work in my line of work that actually mattered photographically. The photographs matter versus all the advertising work, which paid way more than portraits. It was not as regular as portraits, but it paid really well. Where I'm photographing products or people for services, annual reports, architecture, I mean, you name it. I've done a little bit of everything. That stuff paid really well, but the photography is meaningless in the grand scheme of things because it's just selling shit. That's all it's about, is selling a product or a service. And within a year, boy, we got to shoot the new stuff. That old stuff is history. Of course, that's great. I get to shoot another catalog that year, another annual report, et cetera, et cetera. But all the same, it's meaningless other than the pay. So when my entire world came apart from the fall of 2013 till I was divorced in the spring of 2016, and I finally did all the personal work I needed to do to really reparent myself and become the person that I'm capable of being, without all the fear and the shame and the terrible, just the terrible stuff that was heaped upon me and the awful survival traits I learned as a child, surviving abusive situations. After I'd worked through all that, and I was a single dad at the time. I finished raising my son. I was full-time single dad with that, working full-time. It just, my whole horizon opened up. It's like, wow, okay, it's just me after I'm done, after he gets out of high school and is independent he's off and running on his own. I can do whatever. The old plans are gone. It's wiped clean. I got nothing but a wide open horizon in front of me. And I don't have to do things the way I'd planned. As a matter of fact, what lights me up? Is it about kicking my career into overdrive and, making a lot more money, or working another 15 years until I'm 65, 70 at the university and getting a golden pension? None of that stuff really spoke to me. What did speak to me was portraits, but I'd been inspired by my time at Burning Man and the gifting that goes on there, that the portraits that had mattered the most over my career were at times I did family portraits for homeless shelters and domestic violence service centers wherever I had been living. And I'd done that a little bit here and there, but then all of a sudden it became the focus. And that's stuff that actually matters. That's photography that becomes legacy stuff. And boy, once I got that bug in my head and started taking baby steps toward that, it was a long-term goal. It took a while to get here. Everything just filled me up inside, I wasn't afraid anymore at the prospect of leaving my job, retiring so early. Didn't know how I was going to survive. How could I go any more than a couple of years on my savings? I just started going with it. And it's been the most amazing experience to not only be blessing these families and doing this work that matters, but to see how the path keeps unfolding and the way keeps showing itself, even when I'm not sure how it's going to. So who I am, I'm just me, photographer with a gift for photographing people and connecting with people. And I am leaning full blast into that as my gifting and my legacy. It's what I feel like I'm meant to be doing now at this point in my life. And boy, if there's anything in particular you want to ask me, please ask in the comments down below here, and I'll answer them. I'm very open. I'll answer your questions. I'll answer them thoughtfully and honestly. I always do. That's just my way. So hit me up. Ask me anything you want to ask. So it's kind of hard to do a video like this where I'm just talking about myself. I can't do any more of it. Not in this bio kind of format. I mean, it's important and I'm doing it. I see the value in it. But yeah, I'm going to rely on your questions in the comments to answer more specific stuff. So fire away. Later.